Hey guys, welcome back to SUPERGOOSE-LLC. Today I'm going to talk about owning a motorcycle after you're 30, an older rider. I would say, in particular, even older than that, in your 50s or 60s or even older. So let me tell you a little bit about my riding history. I bought my first motorcycle when I was 30. I'd always wanted one, and when I finally turned 30, I said, I'm getting a bike. I got a DR 350. I love that bike. I rode it everywhere. And a few years later, 36, I believe, I got married and then had 3 kids. And basically, I stopped riding. And I didn't ride for nearly 15 years. In the meantime, the 2 bikes I had, they had no attention. They'd been sitting for a while. One had sit out, actually outside for a while. And when I got around to trying to get them to work, they wouldn't start. And I spent about a year on and off trying to get either one of the bikes to run, unsuccessfully. And so I'm showing you a little bit about myself here. Like I said, I have 3 kids, I'm married, and the things I'm into are things that I do with my kids: biking, their sports, baseball and karate and basketball, and as a family we go camping. So that's that's our deal. Well, I really missed riding my motorcycles, but I just couldn't take any more time to dump into trying to get those bikes running. I'm not a very good mechanic to begin with. So, but around 2022, I saw advertisements for, maybe I'll put the camera on me now. Okay, I couldn't figure out how to turn the camera around, so I'll just hold it out like this and videotape for you because I want to kind of talk to you guys. Around 2022, I saw these advertisements and videos on YouTube about the Surron Ultra Bee, and that got me really interested. So I ended up purchasing one from a US website, and it was so fun getting out there in the woods again, on the street and riding that thing around. It was so much fun. I couldn't believe how much I missed it. And I really enjoyed that. And I ended up selling the 2 gas bikes. But, after a while, the Light Bee just wasn't enough. I felt unsafe riding it out on the highway next to my house. Its top speed was about 43, and I had a rear view mirror I put on it, and I had to really watch back there to make sure there was nothing coming. And I had a couple of close calls where I felt like I was just about got run over. And so when the Ultra Bee came out, I was like, now that looks like a real electric motorcycle. So a few months later, I bought that one in 2023, and that bike is just unbelievable. It's not a perfect bike, but if you're wanting like nearly zero maintenance work to do, something that just runs, all you have to do is, lube the chain and charge it, and that's basically it. Clean it up every now and then. Change the brake pads every few months, and then anything breaks, repair it. But I haven't had anything to break on it. Those are the only things I've done: lube the chain, clean the bike, and I've done a number of upgrades on it. But here's the thing. So what's the upfront cost? Well, I paid $5,800 direct from Alibaba. Okay, that's all you need to get started. So you don't have a huge amount. I know you see these upgrade videos where people have a $12,000 or $15,000 Ultra Bee, even a light Bee, where they replace like virtually every component on it. But you know, you can upgrade this thing to the nth degree, but you don't have to, and you can get in on one of these at a low price, relatively low price. And it's a marvelous bike. I'll tell you a couple of cons about it, and really there's only one big con, and that's the distance you can drive. So the range is only about 25 miles, going 45, 50 miles an hour. There's no tweak you can really do to increase that much, except to buy a bigger battery and a different controller. Now you're getting into some money. But I'm getting off track here. The main thing I'm trying to tell you is that if you're an older rider like me, you just don't have time, or you just don't want to fool with motorcycle maintenance, and you just want to ride and have fun, then I'm saying that the Ultra Bee is just a perfect bike for that. It's a lightweight bike, so you don't have some big thing you've got to control. I mean, I think it's like 190 pounds stock. I think mine's a little bit over 200 now since I've changed out the wheel sets. And it's fun. The way I use it is, I work remotely from home, so I'll turn the camera back around on me. I work remotely from home, so I can on my lunchtime, I can get on the bike. I can ride it to a place to eat close by, 10 miles away, 5 miles away. And, it's just fun to get out on the bike. I don't have a tons of opportunity to just dedicate to going riding. So I can work in a couple of rides a week just driving myself to lunch. And, I just hop on the bike, put my helmet on, go to eat, and have a little nice trip back. I even do a little off-road. There's a little section where I can do a little bit of off-road on my way home. So that's one way I use it. Another way I use it is, you see the camera over here? Camper. The camper. So what do I do in that situation is I load my Ultra Bee into the truck, okay? And electric bikes are a lot easier to load onto a truck than a gas bike. They're so much easier. I just put mine in econ mode, and then I just gently work it up the ramp, and it's really simple. And then, I get to the campsite and I can explore the whole campsite. There's no noise of the gas bike. Nobody's going to complain about the gas bike. I got my Ultra Bee tagged so I can ride all around the campsite. We were in Savannah, Georgia a couple of weeks ago, and I rode all around that area over those long bridges. It was so fun. Our last night there, I went on a ride by myself because sometimes I do two up with my kids, and I rode all around over those bridges at 12 o'clock at night, the wind blowing on me. It was so wonderful. It was almost heavenly. And it was a great experience. And so the bike only does about 50 miles an hour. It's got a top speed. I think the most I've ever went is 59, but it rides around 50 to 55, and it's just fast enough. If you've got drivers pressing up behind you, then you're still going to have to pull over on this one, but it's usually not a problem. And yeah, so if you've been out of riding for a while and you really miss it like I did, then I can't recommend this bike enough for what you get for the money and the experience that you get to have and the low maintenance. It's just a wonderful bike. Yeah, I'll mention a couple of upgrades because there's a couple of things that really make a difference. Everything else, you know, if you're not doing like serious off-road enduro style, you know, racing, or it doesn't matter that much. But you know, the 1821 wheel set was kind of a game changer for the bike. Before that, it felt like just like the Light Bee a bit, just more, with more power. But once the wheel set went on, it felt like a real motorcycle after that. So, you know, and I do recommend if you're going to ride on the road that you get some good mirrors. These I love these mirrors because these are the double tree, I think they're called. They fold in. And then I've got this camera holder here, a phone holder, I should say, you know, and then it's nice to have a tank bag. And so these are little things, you know. I changed the foot pegs. I got a new kickstand. I mean, these are all things that you can kind of add on as you go. Added this rack. You know, you can add those things on later on. You don't have to start with that. You can start with the bike as it is. And then, you know, like I said, probably the first upgrade that I would recommend would be the wheel set. And then the other thing I did was I got an extra battery that I keep in this backpack right here. Now, I don't wear that backpack. It's just too heavy. But that's just to carry it around and kind of protect it a little from the weather. But I carry that camping. Between this battery and the other battery, I got 50 miles of riding before I have to recharge. I take my charger with me, but you know, sometimes I don't even fire it up. Depends on how long the trip is. My Savannah trip was a whole week, so I did take the charger and I went through both batteries, and you know, and then I charged up overnight one night. Yeah, I just usually tie the bike using a bicycle lock. I tie it to the camper, and I have a little cheap motion detect alarm that I put inside the in here, this compartment under here where the charger goes. I just put it under there. So anyway, if you guys have any questions about, you know, ownership of this bike, video is really intended for not the guys that are doing all the fancy stuff with their bikes and wheeling down the roads, you know, and getting their bike to do, you know, 90 miles an hour and all this stuff. This is for guys that just want to ride again, okay? Well, I think I've talked enough. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you. Bye.